Hi dear friends, Shashank, your mentor at iQuanta for your verbal ability. Today we are going to talk about vocabulary. We have already covered one vocabulary session before this. This vocabulary session is going to teach us something more. Previously we talked about the root forms, right? You can check in the playlist and you can get those. But today what we are going to talk about is mnemonics, right? So there is yet another way of learning words, and it is not only by breaking the words, but we can also learn it by simply carrying on with the thought process, that is mnemonics. Let's see what is it. So what we can do in mnemonics is we can actually catch hold of the word and add it with something else. By doing so, what happens, your words, they stick to you, right? आपकी लाइफ में जो भी हो रहा है, आप अगर उसके साथ कोई वर्ड को ऐड कर देते हैं, if you add it to it, so what happens, it becomes easier for you to learn, right? Let's see how. So the word today is pulchritude, right? So when I say pulchritude, I don't know where to start breaking, yeah? So what happens, I first learn the definition, right? Let me just go back. Yeah, I'll simply use green, yeah. So physical beauty is the definition, right? So I know that this is the kind of definition. It means something which is physical beauty, which means something that is beautiful in appearance, right? So first thought process. Let's move on to the next part. What does it say? It says Taj Mahal. This is my mnemonic, right? Every time I think of Taj Mahal, now Taj Mahal, thinking about Taj Mahal is not difficult for us, right? So always remember, whenever you would think of pulchritude, it would be talking about Taj Mahal. It can be, when I say Taj Mahal, you should think of pulchritude. Why? Because it is talking about the physical beauty that it shows, right? So this is one way of going about it. Then we can have a sentence. When Rahul heard you have pulchritude, he said, is that contagious? So he's actually thinking, oh my God, some kind of disease or something? Should I see a doctor? So that is something you can start thinking and trying to make a sentence out of yours, right? Whatever you start thinking, you will get to know that this is how I use pulchritude. Remember that it is also a noun. So it is to be used as a subject or an object or after a preposition or something like that, right? Move on to the next one. It says recalcitrrent. Now what is recalcitrrent? It is coming across as stubborn and uncooperative. Okay, fine. Stubborn and uncooperative. So how I learned, how did I come across with this word for myself? It was my teacher when I need grace marks. So I am in front of my teacher, begging her to give me some grace marks so that I can also pass the paper. But what is she? She is recalcitrant, which means, did she give me the marks? No, she did not. She was stubborn and she was uncooperative, and that's why I flunked in that subject. So which means she is recalcitrant. Fine. So you can see if I use these words in my daily life, fine, things that are happening around, right? In those cases, what happens? I can remember it for a long time, because learning words is not the only problem. The biggest problem is retaining them. Fine. So this way you can retain them for a long time. The recalcitrant dog refused to walk, lay down mid-road and demanded snacks like royalty. So you can always remember, okay, what kind of dog was it? It was a stubborn dog. He was not ready to move. He simply sat wherever he was and he demanded snacks as if he was the royalty, the king. Okay. Third one, lugubrious. Now when I say lugubrious, how does it go about? Of course it is ending with OUS, which means it is adjective. What does it stand for? It stands for gloomy or mournful. Fine. Something which is very gloomy, something which is very sad, okay, mournful, fine. The ending of Titanic, that is one way, okay. So you can have any kind of, a sad movie, a movie with a sad ending, and you can start thinking, okay, fine, that was lugubrious, right? Or you can, again it works, when I got my results, right? So when I got my results, I became lugubrious. Fine. And you can also say like, okay, when I got my results, I didn't become lugubrious, right? Because when you got good marks, then you would not be lugubrious at all. That one friend who cries at every movie, even Kung Fu Panda, fine? Yep, that's lugubrious, fine? So a person who is actually crying in a movie, which is like something like Kung Fu Panda, then this person is definitely lugubrious, right? Do you have a friend like that? Okay, let's move on. Fourth one, what does it say? The word is sagacious, okay? Now, sagacious is wise and intelligent. So whenever we talk in terms of wise and intelligent, what do we have? We have got Lord Buddha giving sermons. So he's giving sermons. So whatever he would say is quite wise, full of wisdom, right? He's very intelligent, right? Okay, a sage, right? Other than this, whatever comes to your mind, you can add up and you can start learning these words. Grandpa's life advice: don't lend money to people who say, trust me. Sagacious, always. So, who is sagacious out here? The advice or the grandpa? Of course, grandpa. Fine. Grandpa was sagacious. His advice was sagacious, right? Okay. Fine. So, sagacious is easy. Let's move on. The word is Chihotic. So, we call it as Chihotic. Unrealistically idealistic. So a person who is very unrealistic, very idealistic, okay. So in that case, when we say, "Arey ho jayega," yeah, do you remember yourself saying these words? Maybe you have a paper and you have not studied for it at all, and then suddenly you come across and you say like, "Arey ho jayega, sab theek hai, all will be done. कल पेपर है तो आज सारा स्टडी कर लूँगा," right? So what are you then? You are actually chaotic. Fine. So this is unrealistic. I think so it becomes much easier for you to learn these words. My friend launched a startup to turn moonlight into Wi-Fi. Wow. So some friend of us who is actually trying to change moonlight into Wi-Fi. Investors called it chaotic, of course. They would say like, that is very unrealistic. This is like, what are you thinking? He still calls it visionary. But he's still chaotic, right? And he still thinks like, no, it is possible. One day it can be done. So this person definitely has to be chaotic. Fine? Easy. Next, obscuous. Now what is obscuous? It says overly flattering like a sucker. So when I say overly flattering, what does it mean? I'm trying to flatter someone, right? So I'm trying to impress, I'm trying to flatter, I'm trying to butter, all that stuff, right? To your most hated teacher, just think of it. So you don't like this teacher at all. And you say, "Sir, you are the best. Where would I be if you were not there?" Fine. What are you trying to do? Why are you trying to, butter him? Why are you trying to flatter him? Because you want those marks, yeah? So this is how you would remember. Who is obsequious out here? You are the one who is obsequious, right? Sir, your voice echoes like Shakespeare in Dolby Digital. So we are trying to tell this to someone, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. 7. So if you can just go through it, you can actually see that it becomes very easy, or it becomes very fruitful for you to learn these words if you try to make it funny, right? If you don't make it funny, it will not work for you, right? So that's why make it as funny as possible, or something like add emotions to it, add something which is always happening around, right? Find your parents, your relatives, your relation maybe, or some kind of, something happening in the neighborhood. Always try to have a word for that. It will always work for you, right? Next word. The word is vociferous. What is vociferous? Loud and forceful. So a parliament session, right? Everyone trying to throw things at each other, right? Then they are always screaming. The speaker of the house is always like, "Are rehen do bhaiya, shanti rakho." So what is happening out here? The whole scenario, it is actually vociferous. Fine? That auntie at wedding who yells instructions louder than the DJ. Vociferous vibes. Okay? So there is that auntie. "Are golgappe kahan hai?" So what is she? She is actually vociferous. Fine? You definitely would have this kind of an art around. The word is excoriate. What is this? Okay, because it is ending with ate, definitely it has to be a verb. Now, what does it say? It says to criticize harshly. Okay, my teacher, my parents, my ex, and you can add the number. Okay, and everyone is trying to criticize you harshly. Oh, you have not done this. What kind of student you are? I cannot expect anything from you. Fine. So your parents like that. I don't know about ex. So you can go about. When I failed my exam, my mom didn't scold me. She excoriated me like I had committed tax fraud. So in this case, what you can understand is that excoriate is in degree, it is higher than scold. It is not even scold, it is much higher than that. Okay? So that is why excoriate. Next, ubiquitous. Now what is ubiquitous? OUS, adjective. Found everywhere. Okay? So it is everywhere. So you can find love everywhere, you can find God everywhere, whichever works for you. You open Instagram, ads. You check email, ads. You sleep, ads in dreams. So ads is what in your life? It is ubiquitous. Fine. So these things are quite easy to understand, right? Yeah, I would also prefer that if you can use it in your real life, right? Do something which, like the math students, right? You hate maths. So when you do maths, what are you? Think of it. So you can use those words, right? Lubrious can be the word, right? When you don't get your maths correct, what happens? Your maths teacher, does he scold you? Or what does he do? He excoriates you. Understood? So these are different ways of catching hold, and you can go about with these words, right? What is the word? Inveterate. So what is inveterate? This is a deep-rooted habit, and definitely a bad one. It has to be a bad one. 11th hour study habit. So we have a habit of what? Studying at the 11th hour. So what are we doing? We are actually inveterating. Of course, as I said, now look at it, careful. Before this we did ate, and I said that it was a verb, but this time ate, it is ending with ate, but this is an adjective. So you need to be very clear that these words, where are they placed in the sentence, that would mean a lot for us to understand which one to go for, right? How to use them. So parts of speech is definitely an important topic for us, right? Let's move on. I'm not late. I am inveterately time flexible. Oh ho ho. So what does it mean? Inveterately time flexible means what? So he has a habit of being time flexible. What kind of habit is that? Is it a good habit or a bad habit? So definitely, as we talked about, that it has to be a bad habit. Okay? Said Rohan, who's been late since birth, and he has been late since birth, right? Let's move to the next one. 11th, what does it say? It says trenchant. What is trenchant? Sharp and biting, especially comments. Fine. So it's not actual biting. It's basically some kind of the comments. Okay. It can be sarcastic, right? English teacher with the sarcasm. Can't help it. So English teachers, they generally have the gift of gab. They know how to play with the words, and that's why they can be very sarcastic. Fine. So then again, it can also be done by a maths teacher. Many a time what happens, like he comes in the class, so someone who is not good with maths, and the maths teacher says like, oh, Aryabhat, how are you today? So what is he doing? He's actually he's being trenchant. Okay? She told me my essay was brave for trying. That trenchant comment still hurts. Fine? Still he has the pain when he said that she said like, oh, you were brave to try this kind of an essay. Which means, of course, the work was not done well. 12th, pusillanimous. So what does it stand for? It stands for something to do with cowardly. Fine? Then we have the way one reacts when one sees a lizard or a cockroach. Fine? I don't know about you guys, but this is like definitely about me. Fine? I'm like, once I see anything creeping, crawling, I'm like, oh my god. So I become cowardly, right? I saw a cockroach, I screamed. My brother screamed. The cockroach probably judged our pusillanimous what? Souls. Cowardly souls. Fine? Easy? Next one. What is the word? Supercilious. What is supercilious? It means arrogantly superior. So someone who is like, he's arrogant and he feels himself to be the superior. Right? What is it? Boss complex. Anyone. It can be your best friend. It can be anyone who was like, always, you know what? You just do what I say and you would be always happy. Fine. In that case, what is it? What is he doing? He's actually supercilious. He looked at my 500 shoes, 500 rupee shoes, with the expression of someone sniffing expired caviar. Supercilious. 100%. Right? So which means like he has a boss complex. Oh, what are you wearing? Huh. Something like that. So he's what? Arrogantly superior. He's always trying to, I'm the one who is trending things. Whatever I do is the right thing and things of that sort. 14. Parsimonious. What is parsimonious? Extremely stingy. What does it mean, extremely stingy? Someone who is like, what? Not ready to pay. Not ready to spend. Okay? Any of the friends, so you can think of those friends, everyone would have it. I always had it. Maybe many a time I was the one. Any of the friends who does not spend a dime when on an outing. So you all people have gone across. Arey bhai, chalo, you pay for the Coke. And the person says, Arey, Coke is not healthy. Don't do for it. No. I don't have the money, man. See? So what is he? He's parsimonious, right? My uncle asked for change after giving 101 at wedding. So he paid 101 and then he said like, can I have 50 back? I'm asking for change. He's asking for change. So what is it? Legendary parsimonious energy. Easy? Fine? Okay. Let's come across with the last word. Intransigent. What is intransigent? Now this could have been done with root form as well. Because in means not, trans means change. So a person who is not ready to change, refusing to compromise. Easy. She and I just before breakup. So we did not compromise, right? We did not give any kind of, so there was no mutual agreement. And that's why what did we do? We broke up. So that's why we both were intransigent. We wanted pizza. She wanted quinoa. We starved. She's intransigent and possibly evil. So these are the funny ways of learning your words. More coming across your way. Do not lose track. Catch hold of the playlist and start learning. Thank you guys.